Hey everybody, welcome back to Database Management System Presentation Series. This is Satyadev, Assistant Professor, VNR, VJEC, CSC Department. So in the last presentation, we have seen schema, instance differences, how they are linked, we have seen that. Now in this presentation, we are going to see, okay, schema is there, instance is there, data is there. But is it like whenever you want to store data, do you have to open the entire database and type the data? Or everybody has to understand what is constraint, what are schema, what is database constraints, what are triggers, what are procedures? Is it like everybody has to understand? Only this is only for database management system, is only for technical people? No, it's not. So basically, this data abstraction is a feature of DBMS that lets you see the data or operate on the data at different levels. This presentation is going to talk about at what levels we can see data. It is like you see a picture from 10,000 feet or 1,000 feet, or you see the picture very close by. When you are very close by, you can see a lot of details of the pictures. You can find the blemishes or anything like that. But you see 1,000, but you can't really appreciate the beauty of the picture, right? So when you see at the 1,000 meters level, you can see certain things, at a high level, how it looks and all that stuff. At the 10,000 feet level, you see it in a slightly different way. You just see that there is a picture, right? So you don't get to see all the stuff, right? So basically that's how you can visualize this abstraction is. So let's get into the presentation. Okay, data abstraction. As per definition, the process of hiding unnecessary database details from users while showing only the required information. That's pretty much data abstracted. So abstracting the users, or stopping the users, or restricting the users from seeing the entire data. So how much restriction you want to put, like, it depends upon what the user is, what kind of user is, right? So that's pretty much what it is. We will see users in the next presentation, but in this presentation, we are going to talk about data abstraction. So basically, data abstraction allows different users to interact with the database at different levels. That's pretty much what it is. So what are those levels? Predominantly, there are three levels: physical level, logical level, and view level. View level is the highest level that people with not much knowledge of database and DBMS system also can use it. Say for example, let's take an example of airline reservation. So when you go to the airline help desk, so there they will ask you, okay, what are the airline ticketing, or you went to the airport, you want to get the boarding pass, right? So you go, there is a kiosk, there is a person standing there, so you go and ask that person, okay, so I want to go from Hyderabad to Mumbai, this is the schedule, so give me a ticket. So that person will type the details and list all the flights. Okay, these are the flights available. Which one you want to pick up? We will pick one and we'll see. So the person who is looking at that kiosk, or and trying to get the information, is the view level. Now, actually, all this information is stored in a place called in a database. So, but again, that person doesn't know, at the kiosk doesn't know where it is stored, how it is stored. All he or she knew is, okay, there is a UA form. You type Hyderabad to Mumbai today's date and press a search. It will give you all the list of flights, right? So that's the view level. That's then the logical level. So this is the middle level where what data is stored, how it is related, all the database related stuff is going to be there in the logical level. Now at the physical level, how it is stored at the lowest level, like you want to store what kind of, you want to store the data in a linked list or tree, or hash map. How do you want to store the data? How do you make the data more performant? How do you maintain the data? How do you back up and restore data? All these things are very low level details of the data. So those are at the lowest level, which is called the lowest level. So let's see this pictorially. Now you can see that even though I mentioned here in the picture at the view, we talked in the previous slide from the low level, actually it's better to start from the view level, highest level. The users of this level are managers, employees, analysts, application users. So for them, UI screen, UI user interface is something that is the database. They have the UI, beautiful UI, where they type in information, they get that stuff, they update the stuff, they delete the stuff, all the stuff they think they're doing. So they think that the database is on their screen, but actually it is not. So highest level of seeing the data is called the view level. Actually, this data is coming from the database at a low level. Right? That's pretty much what view level is. Now, next level is the logical level. This is the level which you can call it as a middle level, where data is defined, how it has to be stored. We have tables in the database, how they have to collect all these things. Normally, users of this are the database designers, database architects, application developers, sometimes senior application developers, all these guys, they create the schemas, they create the stored procedures, they provide the triggers, constraints. All these things have been defined by at the logical level. So this is the blueprint. This is where the actual blueprint is created in order to create the database. So that's the second level, or the mid level of the database, viewing the database. Now the lowest level is the physical level. This is where database administrators pitch in, sometimes system architects as well. So what they do is they take care of storage management, performance tuning, indexing the database table, how the files have to be organized, how the backup, all these things like related to the data, automation, automating the backup and recovery, all these things are done by the lowest level. So in order to say, if you look at this data at three levels in a different perspective, the highest level guys, the view level guys, look at the data in the perspective of their application, their problem. The middle level users of the database, they see the database as it's related to application, but as the working pieces. The working pieces work together to store the data and perform the CRUD operations. So, and the lowest level of looking at the data, the physical level, at the DB and all, they see. They don't really worry about the application and the schema and all that stuff. They worry about how the restrictions have to be performed, how it has to be done more quicker way. All these things like how the backup has to be done periodically. So they don't really worry about the application. So in a way, the top level guys worry mostly about the application, middle level application, and low level details, little bit low level details in between, where our low level guys only worry about the actual that receive the data as a stream of bytes and stuff like that. They don't see data as, okay, this is student name, student number. They don't see that. Of course, it is there like that only, but they don't consider. They say, how can we store this data more efficiently? All these things, right? So that's pretty much about the three levels of data. Now, this slide actually talks more about the physical level. So this level, lowest level of abstraction describes how data is actually stored on storage devices, highly technical, hardware dependent, complex for end users. So main goals are storage efficiency, data retrieval speed, memory utilization. So this is all level to hardware and efficiency, all that stuff. So the users of this level are, like I said, system programmers and DBS. They manage file structures, indexing methods, record placements, memory allocations, hashing techniques, hash tables, storing it in B plus trees, partition storage, distributed storage, all these all the nitty-gritty details of the database, they consider about it. So about them. So the next level is the logical level, most important level for the database designers. So describe what data is stored, relationships among data, constraints and rules, all that stuff, right? So their main goal is to design the complete database schema. So this is like life for the application that the people see. For users, application is what something they think is the database. But for that, the life is not actually there. The database is there here, and this is the most important level as far as the application is concerned. So the main goal is design the complete database schema, and the users are designers, database designers, technical architects, senior software developers. Not juniors who normally create schemas, system analysts, these guys will look into the middle level. What the tasks they perform: define tables, attributes, relationships, primary and foreign keys, which we will discuss later in the coming presentations. Integrity constraints, consistency and integrity constraints, writing stored procedures, triggers, all these things are done by conceptual level or logical level people, middle level people. So the next level is the view level, also known as external level. So highest level of abstraction, so only the part of the database needed by specific users. Different users can have different views of the same database. Like you don't get to see the database. Like for example, there is a student table. You don't get to see the table entire data on one screen. You only see part of the data. And again, it could be divided into multiple different way. You see, and it is stored in a different way. So it is possible, right? So main goal is for this level is to access and use only required data. So basically, that's pretty much what it is. This is application level, and basically end users, application users are the users of this. So what they do is view required information, run queries, fill forms, generate reports, update permitted data, all these things. But all these operations like querying, filling forms, generate reports, permitted updating data, all these things, actually for them they appear to be happening on the screen, but actually it happens on the database. So they go, the commands go to the database and they will be done here. A student sees marks and attendance in EduPrime, but not faculty salary because he or she is restricted. But his marks and attendance are not there on this EduPrime. They are actually there in a database, right? That's pretty much what it is. A database for EduPrime. Think that's pretty much about the views of this database. In the next presentation, we are going to talk about various languages to perform various database operations. That's what we are going to do. Thank you.
Like, share, comment, and subscribe VNR Digital Learning Resource YouTube channel.